It begins in the deep sands of ancient Egypt, beneath temples that have long since crumbled and been buried by time. For thousands of years, stories have spread across the Nile Valley about a mysterious book, a book said to be written by Thoth himself, the Egyptian god of wisdom, magic, and the moon, known to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus. Thoth was more than a myth. He was believed to be the guardian of sacred knowledge, especially the truth about life, death, and what comes after. But this book was not made of ordinary papyrus. It was said to be etched into thin golden plates, sealed in a stone box, and hidden somewhere only the worthy could find. Some said it was placed beneath the Great Pyramid. Others believed it was sunk into the Nile itself, or buried in a mountain cave in Upper Egypt. The Hidden Book of Thoth became a legend among scribes, priests, and seekers of spiritual truth. It was never meant for ordinary eyes. Only those who had passed the inner tests of wisdom and purity could uncover it. The book was more than just a guide. It was a spiritual key. Inside, it explained what no other scroll dared to: the moment of death, the soul's journey, and how a person could prepare for what comes after this life. It gave names, places, words of power, everything needed to move through the invisible worlds that wait beyond the final breath. One legend tells of a priest named Neferkapta, who devoted his life to finding the book. He was wise, noble, and obsessed with unlocking the mysteries of the afterlife. After decades of searching and receiving visions in his dreams, he finally discovered a hidden chamber beneath the Temple of Thoth in Hermopolis. Inside, protected by deadly traps and spiritual guardians, he found the book, shining with divine light. He opened it, and something changed in him. He saw things no living man was meant to see. The stars spoke. The wind whispered names he had never heard before. But Neferkapta paid a terrible price. Soon after reading the book, tragedy struck his family. His son drowned, his wife became sick, and he was driven to madness. This story, passed down by temple priests, was a warning. The knowledge in the book is powerful but dangerous. Thoth didn't hide the book to be cruel. He hid it to protect the unready. The soul must be prepared, clean, and balanced before it can handle such truths. Otherwise, the wisdom will burn instead of bless. So why do people still seek it? Because the book promises answers to the deepest questions every human has. What happens when I die? Will I see my loved ones again? Is there a heaven or a punishment? Can I control what happens after death? The Book of Thoth doesn't give vague ideas. It gives details, step-by-step descriptions of the soul's journey, including names of gods, paths of the Duat, the Egyptian spirit world, and rituals to follow. It teaches how the soul splits into different parts, how it faces judgment, and how it moves forward or becomes lost forever. Modern scholars debate whether the book ever existed. Some say it's symbolic. Others claim fragments of it live on in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Emerald Tablets, or temple carvings. Still, some spiritual seekers believe the real Book of Thoth remains hidden in a dimension only the awakened can reach. They say it's guarded not by walls, but by vibration. Your heart, mind, and spirit must be aligned before the book reveals itself. In the end, the Hidden Book of Thoth is more than a physical object. It is a sacred path, a doorway into the truth about what it means to die and to live beyond death. It's the start of a journey that doesn't end in a tomb, but in transformation. And once the book is opened, even once, nothing will ever be the same. In the next part of our story, we will open that first page. What does Thoth say happens in the very first moments after death? What does the soul experience right after it leaves the body? The moment of death is not loud. It doesn't come with a thunderclap or a blinding light. According to the teachings hidden in the Book of Thoth, death begins with a whisper, a soft shift, like a curtain being drawn back. One moment, the heart beats. The next, there's silence. But something stirs beyond that silence. The ancient Egyptians believed that the soul is not one single thing. It is a combination of many parts, and each one plays a role in the journey after death. Thoth's book explains these parts clearly, like a map of the self. The Ka is the life force, the energy that makes the body live. The Ba is the personality, the part that laughs, loves, and dreams. The Ak is eternal self, the shining spirit that can live forever. When a person dies, the Ka leaves the body first. It rises gently, floating above, watching the body as it lies still, For a few moments, or what feels like moments, the Ka lingers confused. The body is there, but it can no longer move. Voices are heard, but they sound distant. Some describe it as being underwater, while others say it's like waking up in a dream. This stage is known as the Great Unbinding. The soul is free, but doesn't yet understand it. The Ba, the soul's emotional self, follows shortly after. It still feels human, still feels desire, regret, love, and fear. In the Hidden Book, Thoth describes this moment in simple words. The soul is like a bird with broken wings. It remembers how to fly, but forgets how to rise. Soon after, the soul begins to notice strange things. The world no longer obeys the rules of time. Seconds stretch like hours. People move in slow motion. Thoughts feel louder than speech. Some souls try to speak to the living. They reach out to loved ones, but their hands pass through. Others see their own funerals, standing quietly in corners of the room, watching tears fall like rain they cannot feel. Then something happens. A presence appears. Thoth's teachings tell of spiritual guides, beings made of light and shadow who appear to help the soul through this first passage. These beings are not frightening. They do not judge. Some look like loved ones. Others wear animal masks, jackals, hawks, ibis heads, symbols of protection. The soul does not walk this path alone. The next step is a life review. Unlike what we see in movies, it's not a slideshow or a courtroom. It's more like stepping into a pool of memory. The soul feels everything it ever did, not just from its own view, but from the view of others. Every word spoken, every act of kindness, every harm caused. If you made someone cry, you feel the pain you caused. If you lifted someone up, you feel their joy as your own. This is not punishment. It's understanding. Thoth writes, "He who walks in truth sees all that he has sown." The soul drinks from the river of its own actions. Many souls cry during this time, not out of fear, but from seeing clearly, maybe for the first time, what their life truly meant. Some try to turn back. Some want to make things right, but the body is gone. Only the journey forward remains. The next stage is where the Ba and Ka must reunite, forming the Ak, the enlightened spirit. This can only happen if the soul accepts what it has seen, forgives itself, and asks for guidance. If it refuses, it may wander the earth, trapped between worlds, becoming what the Egyptians called an MWT, a restless shadow. But for those who accept and move on, the path ahead begins to open. The soul is drawn toward a vast, golden horizon. It begins to feel lighter, brighter, stronger. The Book of Thoth says this is when the gates begin to shimmer. The Duat, the spiritual world, awaits. At this point, the soul hears its name being spoken, not the name it had in the world, but its true name, the sound of its essence. In Egyptian belief, to know one's true name is to awaken completely. This name is whispered by Thoth himself. According to legend, he does not shout it. He speaks it like a memory the soul forgot it ever had. And with that, the gates of the afterlife begin to open, not as doors, but as layers of light and shadow. The soul is ready to enter the Duat, a world filled with trials, gods, and truths deeper than the Nile. The journey ahead will test everything the soul has ever been. But one thing is certain, death is not the end. It is the first doorway to knowing who you truly are. In the next part of our journey, we will walk with the soul as it enters the Hall of Ma'at, where the most sacred trial takes place, the weighing of the heart. What happens, it will shape the soul's fate forever. After the soul has accepted its death and reunited its Ka and Ba into the radiant Ak, the journey continues into the most sacred and feared chamber of the afterlife, the Hall of Ma'at. This is where truth is tested, where every soul must stand before divine judgment. According to the Hidden Book of Thoth, this is not punishment, it is balance. A soul cannot pass forward unless it is in harmony with the universe. As the soul steps into the spiritual courtroom, the atmosphere changes. The hall is vast, lined with glowing columns etched in divine symbols. Each one whispers ancient truths, and the air feels thick with silence. But the soul is not alone. Sitting at the center is Ma'at, the goddess of truth, balance, and cosmic order. On her head, she wears a single white feather, the feather of Ma'at, which will become the measure of the soul's worth. Near her stands Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the dead, silent and patient. He is the guardian of souls and protector of this trial. Behind a sacred stone tablet stands Thoth, the ibis-headed god, holding a writing tool. His role is not a judge, but to record everything with complete honesty. His presence ensures fairness. No soul is treated with favoritism. Kings and beggars, rich and poor, all are equal in the hall of Ma'at. Then come the 42 assessors, spirits and deities who each represent a law of the universe. They are not angry, they are not cruel, but they are precise. Each one asks a question, or rather, listens to the truth in the soul's heart. This is not like a human courtroom. The soul is not cross-examined. Instead, it must face the scale, the most sacred object in the hall. On one side of the scale is the soul's heart, not the physical one, but the energetic heart, which holds all memories, emotions, and intentions. On the other side is Ma'at's feather. The lighter the heart, the more truthful and pure the soul has been. If the heart is heavier, filled with greed, hate, lies, or guilt, it will tip the scale. This moment is often misunderstood. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest, living a life of balance, kindness, and truth. Thoth's book explains this test not as a trap, but as a natural law. Just as a bird cannot fly with heavy wings, a soul cannot rise with a heavy heart. Now comes the most feared figure in the hall, Ammit, the devourer, part lion, part crocodile, and part hippopotamus. She waits silently beside the scale. If the heart is too heavy, she will eat it and the soul will be erased. Not punished, not sent to eternal fire, but simply destroyed. The soul becomes nothing, a lost echo in the universe. But if the heart is light, balanced, and true, the soul passes a test. A golden path opens. The judges nod. Thoth records the outcome. And the soul is led onward, stronger, brighter, and filled with the blessing of Ma'at. Some say that the soul must also speak a series of negative confessions, statements of innocence. These include, I have not stolen. I have not caused pain. I have not spoken lies. I have not turned away from those in need. Each confession is not just a defense. It is a mirror. If the soul speaks falsely, the words will echo and reveal the truth. But if they are true, they shine like stars. The most powerful part of this trial is that it reflects your life back to you. There is no hiding. You can't pretend. But if you live with love, even imperfectly, the scale will see it. If you made mistakes but grew from them, that is balance. That is Ma'at. Thoth's writings say something beautiful here. A heart that dances with truth needs no defense. The scale knows the soul by its light. When the soul passes this trial, it is reborn in spirit. It begins to understand that death is not an end, but a purification. Like gold melted in fire, the soul is shaped into something eternal. It now holds the power to move deeper into the Duat, the spiritual realm that connects the heavens, the earth, and all hidden worlds. But the journey is far from over. Beyond the Hall of Ma'at lie 12 gates, each guarded by powerful beings. Each gate presents a trial, not of judgment, but of transformation. The soul must pass through them one by one, learning and shedding its illusions. This part of the journey is where most souls get lost. It's not because of punishment, but because the path demands truth, and many souls still cling to their past. But those who hold to the truth, who remember the wisdom of Thoth, will continue onward. In the next chapter, we will walk with the soul through the gates and guardians of the Duat. What tests wait there? What happens to those who fail and those who pass? The journey has only just begun. After the soul has passed away in the heart and been declared pure by Ma'at, a new phase of its journey begins. This is where many of the ancient scrolls stop or speak in riddles. But the Hidden Book of Thoth does not. It guides the soul beyond judgment and into the Duat, a mysterious realm that stretches between the worlds of the living and the divine. The Duat is not a place like Earth. It is a spiritual landscape made of thoughts, memories, and energy. Imagine a dream so real that it feels more solid than stone, where every mountain breathes and every river carries voices. This is where the soul must travel next, and it is not easy. According to Thoth's writings, the Duat is divided into 12 gates, sometimes called hours, realms, or veils. Each one is guarded by powerful beings, gods, spirits, or ancient protectors that test the soul's strength, wisdom, and purity. These aren't enemies. They are teachers, but they can be fierce. The first gate begins as a path of darkness. The soul sees only shadows, and the air feels heavy. This is the gate of unknowing. The guardian here is called Keeper, the scarab-headed god of becoming. He asks no questions. He simply waits. The soul must take a step forward, blindly, without fear. This gate teaches trust. If the soul hesitates, it may become lost in the fog of its own doubts. Once past, the soul moves into the gate of memory. Here, it is flooded with images from its earthly life, not just key moments, but small forgotten ones. Every smile, every insult, every act of love or cruelty reappears. The guardian, Sia, the god of perception, asks only one thing. Do you know yourself? To move forward, the soul must accept its whole story, not hide from it, not glorify it, just accept it as truth. Each gate becomes more intense. The third gate, ruled by Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of divine rage, tests the soul's power to face its own anger. If the soul has held on to hate, this gate burns. If it has learned forgiveness, it becomes light. At the fifth gate, the soul must speak its true name again. Not the name given at birth, but the soul name, its vibration in the universe. Thoth teaches that knowing one's true name is like holding a key to your divine identity. Without it, the gate remains closed. Some gates require action. The soul may be asked to cross a river of fire, speak forgotten spells, or walk through storms of illusion. These are symbolic, but deeply real in the spiritual world. The Hidden Book gives spells and phrases, called utterances, that protect and guide the soul. These are not magic tricks. They are vibrations. When spoken with true intent, they align the soul with the divine. The guardians at each gate are not their trap, but to cleanse. Some look terrifying, beings with serpent heads, flaming eyes, or wings of knives. But they only attack fear, pride, or lies. If the soul approaches with humility and courage, these same beings become helpers. They step aside, nod, or even offer a blessing. Each gate strips away something false. At the eighth gate, the soul loses its earthly attachments, its identity as a man or woman, its memories of status, its pride in wealth or beauty. These are illusions. The gatekeeper here is Neith, the goddess of weaving, who unravels the soul's thread and reweaves into truth. By the 10th gate, only the soul's core remains, its will, its love, and its wisdom. All else has been left behind. Many souls give up here. They miss their former selves. They want to return to what they knew. Some turn back. They are not punished, but they are not ready to pass. But those who go on reach the 11th gate, where they meet Thoth himself, not as a statue or myth, but as a presence. Here, he offers no test. Instead, he asks a question so quiet, it can only be heard within. Are you ready to become more than you were? Those who say yes, not with word but with being, are led to the 12th and final gate, the gate of becoming. This last gate is made of pure light. It has no guardian. It opens only when the soul lets go completely, not just of pain, but of identity, fear, and even the desire to continue. It is the ultimate surrender. When the soul passes through, it is no longer what it was. It becomes transformed. This stage is not described in great detail in any scroll, but Thoth writes, the soul that crosses the final gate walks no longer as self, but as light. It is not forgotten. It becomes memory in the mind of the one. What happens next? The Hidden Book hints, but does not fully explain. Some souls choose to rest in the fields of reeds, a paradise of beauty and peace. Others become guides, returning to help lost souls find the path. A few choose to be reborn, not from punishment, but from purpose, to learn, to serve, to love again. What is clear is this. The Duat is not a place of punishment. It is a place of refinement, awakening, and truth. Each gate is a mirror. Each trial is a chance to let go and rise higher. In the next part of this journey, we will follow those souls who reach the light, who enter the divine realms and become one with the gods. What does eternity look like? And what do the enlightened do with their freedom? Thoth tells us more, and it's not what most people expect. When a soul passes through the final gate of the Duat, something changes, not just around it, but within it. Up to this point, the soul has been traveling, learning, and transforming. But now, it steps beyond transformation. It crosses into a place that cannot be reached by effort alone, a place that can only be entered by surrender. In the words of Thoth's Hidden Book, the final gate opens not by strength, but by stillness. This is the beginning of the Field of Reeds, also known as Aru, the paradise of the afterlife. But it's not a paradise built on gold streets or floating clouds. It is a living reflection of Earth at its most pure. Here, the soul walks through endless green fields, fresh rivers, and skies that never dim. Crops grow in abundance. There is no hunger, no illness, and no sorrow. The soul feels light as air, yet fully present. It remembers everything, but with peace, not pain. This is a reward for balance, not for perfection. The soul has faced truth, passed the test of the Duat, and arrived not just at a destination, but at a new state of being. It is no longer shaped by fear, regret, or ego. It simply is a radiant part of creation. And yet, the journey still continues. Many souls choose to rest in the Field of Reeds. Here, they are reunited with those they loved who also passed the tests. Families, friends, and soulmates meet again, not in physical form, but in essence. They recognize each other instantly, without words. Time doesn't exist the way it did on Earth. There is no growing old, no rushing forward. Every moment is complete. But this paradise is not a place of escape. It is not a reward for the few. It is a school for the awakened. Thoth's teachings describe several paths that an enlightened soul may take from this point forward. The first is rest and remembrance. The soul takes time to reflect, to absorb all that it has learned across lifetimes. It can revisit old memories, not as a person longing for the past, but as a spirit understanding the bigger story. It sees how even its worst days were stepping stones. It forgives not just others, but itself. The second path is service. Some souls feel a deep calling to return, not in physical form right away, but as guides. They appear in dreams, whispers, or moments of inspiration to help the living. Thoth writes, "Those who shine may choose to light the way for those still walking." These are the guardian spirits, the inner voices, the sudden calm in moments of chaos. Others choose rebirth, not as punishment, but as purpose. They return to the physical world in a new form, a new place, sometimes even a new dimension. Why? Because they still have something to learn, or more often, something to give. They're the wise child, the kind stranger, the artist who heals with color or sound. They may not remember everything, but their soul carries the echo of truth. Then there are the rare few who walk the path of divine union. This is the final and most mysterious stage. The soul, now glowing like a small sun, is drawn upward into the higher realms. Not spaces, but states of consciousness. Here, it merges with the essence of the divine, not in a way that destroys identity, but in a way that completes it. The soul becomes part of the all, what the ancient texts called Netjer, the source behind all gods. Thoth describes it as melting into the song of the stars. These souls no longer need form, name, or destination. They become like waves in the ocean of being, not separate, yet not lost. They hold within them the knowledge of many lifetimes, and their vibration affects all who live. They become part of divine intelligence itself. This union is not about escape. It is not a reward for being good. It is a natural result of full awakening. A soul cannot be forced into divine union. It must choose it freely. And when it does not vanish. It becomes a force that helps others awaken, too. It's important to understand that according to Thoth, all souls are heading in this direction. There is no hell in the way people often imagine. There is only delay, confusion, and learning. No one is left behind. Some souls wander longer. Others resist truth. But the divine waits, always with patience. In this view, death is not a wall, it's a door. Life is a classroom. And every pain, every joy, every lesson leads the soul one step closer to remembering what it really is, eternal, divine, and connected. Even those who fail in the earlier stages are not doomed. They are simply given more time, more chances. They are reborn, re-guided, and gently drawn back toward the path. The universe is not angry. It is wise. So why do we know this? Why does the world fear death? Thoth answers this in the final pages of his hidden book. He explains that fear of death is a shadow cast by forgetting. When a soul forgets its purpose, it clings to the body. When it remembers, death becomes just another doorway, like waking from a dream into a larger dream. In our next and final key point, we will look at the biggest question of all. Why was the Book of Thoth hidden? What does it mean for us today? And what message did Thoth leave for this exact moment in time? The answer may change the way you see your entire life, and death, not with fear, but with light. We've walked through the realms of the afterlife, followed the soul through judgment, transformation, and divine union. But now comes a question that pulls everything together. Why was the Book of Thoth hidden? If this knowledge is so powerful, so enlightening, then why conceal it all? The answer, according to Thoth's own writings, is simple and deep. Truth is not hidden to punish. It is hidden to protect. The Book of Thoth was never meant to be a tool for power. It was a sacred guide for those whose hearts had matured, who were ready to seek not just answers, but wisdom. In ancient Egypt, not everyone was taught the deeper mysteries. Priests, scribes, and initiates had to pass through years of preparation, not just learning words, but proving their humility, patience, and balance. You see, knowledge is neutral. It's like fire. In the right hands, it warms and gives life. In the wrong hands, it burns and destroys. The Book of Thoth held truths about the afterlife, but also about the nature of the soul, energy, and the divine laws that shape reality. If misused, this knowledge could create confusion, manipulation, or worse, spiritual pride. So Thoth, in his wisdom, made sure the book would not be found by force, only by alignment. Some legends say the book was physically hidden, buried under a temple, locked inside a secret chamber, sealed with curses. But deeper texts suggest something even more profound. The book was hidden in plain sight. Its teachings were placed within symbols, stories, and rituals scattered across Egypt's temples, in the stars above, and even within the human heart. In other words, the book is not just out there. It's in here. Every time a person chooses love over fear, honesty over lies, compassion over judgment, they open a page. Every time someone reflects on their life, helps another, or seeks truth with humility, they read a line. The real Book of Thoth is not just a scroll, it's a living experience. So, what does this mean for us today? We live in a time of confusion. Many people fear death, avoid the topic, or see it as something final and cold. But what if we remembered what Thoth tried to tell us? What if we lived knowing that death is not the end, but a continuation? Imagine how that would change the way we treat each other. Imagine living with the understanding that every act echoes beyond the grave, not as punishment, but as resonance. That our thoughts, our words, our kindness or cruelty, they shape our journey in the afterlife. The Hidden Book of Thoth teaches that we are not victims of fate. We are builders of our eternity. Every day is a chance to balance the scale. Every word spoken in truth lightens a heart. Every act of love polishes the soul. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to be honest, awake, and willing to grow. Even the mistakes we make become teachers. Even pain has purpose when seen through the eyes of the soul. That's what Thoth wanted us to understand. Life is the preparation for something greater. Death is not a wall to fear. It's a mirror, and what we see in that mirror depends on what we become. There's a final passage in the Hidden Book that speaks directly to this. When the soul remembers, the gate opens. When the heart aligns, the path clears. When truth is lived, the book writes itself within you. In this way, we are all writing our own version of the Book of Thoth. With every choice, every thought, every moment of awareness, we inscribe a page. And when the time comes, when our journey in this world ends, we will not arrive in fear. We will arrive with recognition, with peace, with readiness. So if you're watching this and wondering, what should I do with this knowledge? The answer is not to search for an ancient tomb or chase lost texts. It's to live with intention, to see your life as sacred, to prepare your heart not with fear, but with clarity. Live your truth. Speak with kindness. Seek wisdom, not control. Let go of what weighs you down. Forgive, heal, love deeply, and trust that every step you take in this life shapes the journey of your soul in the next. That is the real teaching of Thoth. That is why the book was hidden, not to be forgotten, but to be found within. Because in the end, the Hidden Book of Thoth is not just about death. It's about awakening to the truth that we were never separate from the divine to begin with,